Hey everybody, it's Andy from I Am. This is just a quick video. I'll say quick, it must really be about 10 minutes. My quick video on my take on why I think gas and electric may not be as free as we think. Bear in mind, this is just thoughts from my mind, the mind of Andy. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about gas and electricity lately. These aren't the thoughts of an expert or an energy guru, but rather the reflection of someone just trying to make sense of everything like we all are. What I'm about to share isn't the ultimate truth, but rather Andy's take on why energy isn't as free as we might hope, even though it comes from natural resources like the sun, the wind and the earth. These are just my own ideas, and I encourage you to read with an open mind and decide for yourself. So let's dive into this. So let's look at the infrastructure that's behind your energy and what you're actually really paying for. If we go down to the basics, energy, whether gas, electricity or water, is often thought of as something that should be free. Because in its natural state, it is free. The same is true for gas and electricity, but the reality is that getting that energy into your home isn't just a matter of nature providing, it takes infrastructure. Think of your energy like water sitting in a well. The water itself is free, but if that well is miles away, you'll need pipes, pumps and systems to get it to your house. It's the same with gas and electricity. Yes, these resources are abundant in nature, but transforming them into something we can use and then delivering them to your home requires a vast and complex infrastructure. I'm talking about things like power plants, pipelines, solar panels, wind turbines, grids, substations and miles of transmission lines connecting everything together. So when you receive your energy bill, a large portion of what you're paying for isn't the energy itself, it's the upkeep of the infrastructure. These costs are wrapped up in what's labelled as distribution or network charges. So the reality is you're paying to keep the lights on, not just because of the energy itself, but because of the systems that deliver the energy to you. I hear a lot of people crying, yeah, but we pay for this infrastructure already, are we paying for it twice? And this is the reality of the privatisation. And it's something that doesn't sit right with a lot of us, myself included. If we already paid for this infrastructure once, as a lot of people claim we have, through taxes and public funding before privatisation, why are we still paying for it today? It feels like we're paying for it twice, and we are, and more times over. But before privatisation, governments used our public funds, our taxes, to build and maintain the infrastructure that delivers the gas and electricity. The idea was this would be a public service, something built for everyone's benefit. But in the 80s and 90s, the Iron Maiden and the governments decided to sell off these assets to private companies, often at prices that never reflected the true value of what was being sold. When the energy industries were privatised, the costs for maintaining and upgrading the infrastructure shifted from the public to private. These companies, driven by profit, pass these costs directly onto us as consumers. So now we're paying for the upkeep of a system that many of us believe should already have been covered by the taxes we've paid for in the past. But unlike public ownership, these private companies also have shareholders to satisfy. So in addition to covering maintenance costs, a portion of our bills is now going towards generating greedy profits for these greedy companies. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it's the reality of living in a privatised system. But gas and electricity are abundant resources, but what's the challenge of delivery? And as I say, people often argue that energy should be free because it's so abundant, and that is very true. Gas exists in vast quantities beneath the earth, and the sun shines down us every day, well, apart from when it's chemtrailing, and the wind blows freely. But the challenge isn't the availability of these resources, in the harnessing and delivering them to our homes. To make use of these natural resources, you need infrastructure. You need a pipeline to transport gas, solar panels to convert the sunlight to electricity, and wind turbines to capture the power of the wind. And then you need a grid to carry that energy across miles to our homes. Or, if you're building one in your home, you just have a ruddy great big inverter. That's where the real cost comes in, and that's why, despite the abundance of energy, we still pay significant bills. It's not the energy itself we're paying for, it's the system that allows us to use it. But do we really have a right to demand free energy? Now, let's get personal for a second. I have been noticing this growing expectation from the truth scene that this energy should be free, simply because we live in houses we didn't build, we buy homes with mortgage, another system tool, yet somehow we feel entitled to free energy. But let's be honest, just like paying for a house, we have to pay for everything that makes modern life inside that house possible. Here's something to consider. What do we actually own? There's an old saying that goes, man only owns what he creates. So let me ask you this. Did you create the electricity grid flowing and the electricity flowing into your house? Did you drill the gas and lay the pipes that the gas heats your stove with? Did you build the infrastructure that delivers all these conveniences to your home? For most of us, the answer will be a resounding no. You're living in a system built by others, a system that provides us the comfort and convenience. If you really truly want free energy, you have to be willing to harness yourself. That means investing in solar panels, wind turbines or geothermal systems. Yes, the energy in its raw form is absolutely free, but the work to capture it is not. If we're going to stay connected to the existing system, using its infrastructure and enjoying its benefits, we have to accept that there are costs involved. You can't expect to be free from the matrix while still demanding the benefits of living within it. If you want to opt out, you have to build your own solutions, and that's never going to be easy. But when you think, the path to true independence is harnessing the energy yourself. Because if you don't want to pay for the energy within the system, then you have to take steps to harness it for yourself. Let's say you decide you're done paying the energy companies. You're ready to go off grid. You can install solar panels on your roof, set up a wind turbine in your yard, or tap into the geothermal energy if you have the resources. The energy is there for the taking, but it requires effort, investment and knowledge to make it work for you. But let's be real, it's not as simple as just setting up the equipment. You need to ask yourself, if you're not connected to the grid, you don't have access to the public purse, as in taxpayer funded support. How are you going to maintain that system? Who's going to repair it when it breaks? How are you going to keep it running smoothly? That's the reality we need to face. If you want free energy, you have to take on the responsibility of maintaining the system that harnesses it. Otherwise, you're relying on the system built by entities and corporations, and they're definitely not going to give that away for free. They can't, because they need to keep the infrastructure running, pay their employees, generate a profit. That's how the world works when you're dealing with corporations. So next time someone tells you that as a living man or woman you have a right to free energy, remember this: you only have that right if you're willing to harness that energy yourself. But if your argument is you want freedom from the system while still being connected to the grid, then you're living in a contradiction and you're delusional. You can't have both. Energy will never be free in that world. You might be able to renegotiate the terms, lower your costs or become more efficient, but demanding free energy from a system built by corporations is never going to happen. That's just the way it is. But why do we pay the utility companies? A lot of people wonder why we pay companies like British Gas, EDF, E.ON, etc. instead of just paying the national grid. But how does it work? Energy providers are the middlemen, they're salespeople. They buy energy from producers and manage the customer side of things, billing, service and all that. The national grid, on the other hand, is responsible for moving the electricity and gas around the country. They're the ones managing the physical infrastructure, making sure the energy gets where it needs to go. But the grid doesn't deal with individual households. That's where the utility companies come in. These companies aren't giving you free energy because they're managing the convenience of delivering that energy to your home along with all the customer service that comes with it. That's why you pay them. Not because the energy itself costs so much, but because they handle the logistics. So in conclusion, the real cost of energy, it all boils down to what? Energy in its raw form is free, but the systems that deliver it to you aren't. We paid for these systems once through taxes, and now we're being asked to pay for them again through our energy bills, thanks to privatisation. If you want to step out the system, the choice is yours, but it requires building your own way of harnessing that energy. Living in the system comes with a price. We can't demand something for nothing, not when we're using the infrastructure that someone else has built and maintained. If you want out, you have to create your own solutions. If you stay connected, it's time to accept that you're paying for the convenience of being part of their network. It's not about free energy, it's about choosing how you want to engage with the system. Energy may come from nature, but the reality is that we're paying for the lifeline that delivers it to us. A lifeline that needs constant care and attention to keep our world powered and connected. Being free does not come from demanding free energy from a system you're trying to leave. That really is delusional. True freedom requires taking responsibility for yourself. Taking responsibility for your actions. Every action has a consequence. You need to take responsibility for every aspect of your life, including your health. You have responsibility for your own health. You have responsibility for your energy and your independence. I hope that's given you some food for thought. Have a think about it. I look forward to your responses. Have a great day. Much love.